Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of FPL Fanzone. My name's Nick and in today's episode we are going to have a look at game week 31. My wildcard is now active. I know it's a very short game week. The games start again. The next game week starts tomorrow. So obviously got to be very quick in that turnaround and making sure you're getting your transfers in. But my wildcard is active. It's always been the plan to do it in game week 31. Luckily, we have had the announcements as expected for the doubles and the blanks, and there's been no major shocks there. So the games we expected to move into game week 33 have for Aston Villa, Man City, Crystal Palace and Arsenal. So they all have doubles. And the Nottingham Forest Brentford game has just been moved later on into game week 34. So they don't blank, but they don't double as well. So all in all, no major surprises there. But obviously just having that certainty now makes it a little bit easier for that wild card. So we're going to look through that, have a look at over my game week 30 results, and then have a quick look at captain's choice before the deadline tomorrow. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's kick this off then with the updates. We now know that game week 33 is confirmed to have doubles for Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, and that all of those teams are going to blank in game week 34. All other fixtures stay the same, just those four teams will now double in game week 33, which does mean that Crystal Palace get the double, so they've got a double in 32 along with Newcastle, and then a double again in 33 with the others as well. So that's really helped us out in terms of knowing now a little bit more certainty over the next 4 game weeks. There are now obviously some doubts about what's going to happen with the FA Cup final in game week 37 and if those matches will potentially be moved forward to game week 36, but there's been no announcement on that. We should know that before game week 35 at that point. So for now, let's have a quick look at what that means for those teams that are now doubling in 33. So with my wildcard active, it is really helpful now to have a look. So game week 31, I'm wildcarded. I am now in the process, I think, about my 3rd or 4th iteration, and I'm sure there'll be several more before we hit the deadline tomorrow night. Although I am out for most of the day tomorrow, so I'm going to not have a lot of time to have a look at my team. So I want to try and get something done before and set in stone before I actually go away. In game week 32, obviously there are 2 teams that are doubling in Crystal Palace and Newcastle. Now Newcastle have the better fixtures with Man United at home and Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace's fixtures are much more difficult with 2 away games against Man City and against Newcastle. But obviously for any wildcard team I want to have 3 players from each of those, so I'll have at least 6 doublers in game week 32. And my plan as it stands is to triple captain on Isak in game week 32. So to our wildcard this week, I will triple captain in game week 32, and then I will look to bench boost in game week 33. So in game week 33, we have 4 teams that are doubling. Crystal Palace, who again have really difficult fixtures with Bournemouth at home and then Arsenal away. Now Bournemouth have been in a very poor run of form at the moment, so that might be a good fixture for them, but Arsenal away is obviously a very tough fixture. Arsenal have a great double in Ipswich away and in Crystal Palace at home, so obviously you'd like to triple up on the Arsenal players, but obviously there's a bit of concern now with Gabriel being injured in the last game, so that defence looks a little bit weaker with Kirior now taking into that position. And then you've got Aston Villa, we've got Newcastle at home and then Man City away, so it's not an easy double for them. I would like to kind of move from Isak to Watkins between game week 32 and game week 33. And then of course you've got Man City who've got Everton away and Aston Villa at home. So a nice couple of fixtures for them, and I would ideally want to be on 2 or 3 players for those for that game week. So I'm hoping to bench boost that week as well. So obviously want to make sure that any players that aren't doubling have good fixtures that will be sitting on the bench that week. But ideally that first 11 or 12 players would all be doublers on that as well. Then of course, if I've got a whole team full of doublers in game week 31, or so 33, then they're all going to blank in game week 34. So I'll be using my final chip, the free hit, in game week 34 to reset my team for that 1 week, and then come back to my full team in game week 35 onwards for the rest of the season. So that's where I'm set at the moment, and that's what I'm my plan. So let's have a quick then look at the wildcard drafts as they stand. So for most people looking to wildcard this week, this is a pretty standard wildcard draft with some of the most obvious players in there as well. So Martinez and Raya in goal. So both of them have doubles in game week 33, especially for those that are bench boosting and still have that chip available. Previously it was Gabriel, but obviously with him now being injured, people are now looking to Saliba as their Arsenal defence. Then we've got Munoz, Gvardiol, and it could be either Dan Burn or Livramento. They're both 4.4, 4.5 million. And then for me, it's just an Aston Villa player in Digne. It could be Konsa. Again, not much difference between the two in price. In midfield, the current consensus, if you look amongst the other content creators, is to have Sarr from Crystal Palace. Obviously, with the double, you certainly want 3 of those. You've got Saka. Salah just seems to be a staple. With Haaland now out, you have that one premium. He's been so good all season. He's a little bit out of form in the last couple of games in the Cups and in the last Premier League game, but we do expect him to still be really good. And also in game week 33, when I'm bench boosting, he's got Leicester away, so fantastic fixture for him as well. Savinho is a bit of a surprise one for me. I just don't feel like he's been a real standout this season. Now he does have 11 assists and only 1 goal, and so he has been consistently getting some assist points in there as well. And then Jacob Murphy, obviously, because you want to triple up on Newcastle. Now, if you've got the budget available, Gordon would be a better option. I know he's yellow flagged at the moment. He's just come back from suspension, but obviously the latest update from Eddie Howe was that there was no major injuries in the squad, even with Isak. They all expect to be playing. So if you can afford Gordon, certainly look at moving up there. And then the front 3 by current consensus is Isak, Marmoush and Mateta. Now Mateta really disappointed this week against Southampton with just the 1 pointer. But again, looking at the fixtures going forward and 2 doubles in the next 3 weeks, certainly someone that you want to have on your team as well. So let me know in the comments below, are you on a wildcard this week? Are these the types of players that you're looking for? Because what I'm going to look up next is a couple of differentials that potentially in my team, now that my rank has dropped so rapidly over the last couple of weeks, how do I kind of gain some rank and be a little bit different from the crowd? So let's have now look at a differential wildcard team. So with this particular wildcard team, there's a few changes that I've made. So I've tripled up on Crystal Palace, but I've gone 2 defenders with Henderson and Munoz instead of having Sarr in midfield. With Newcastle, I've gone for Trippier. I think there's a lot more upside there. He's a lot more expensive. And then gone for Guimaraes because the data behind his numbers at the moment, he's got the best form in that midfield. He is more expensive than let's say Murphy, for example, but cheaper than Gordon. So he's a nice halfway point. But he's on a bit of run of form with a few goals in the last couple of games. So a bit of a differential there, really lowly owned. For me, the other 2 major differentials are Marino. Now, everyone knows that Marino is currently playing as the number 9 for Arsenal. So he's a midfielder playing up front. And with Saka back, that delivery and services to him is going to be much better. Also, with Gabriel now out, Marino is going to be the main target from corners. And again, with Saka back, that corner deliveries are going to be better. And therefore, there's more opportunities. He's been getting the goals anyway. So I do think he's a nice differential in there. So having double Arsenal attack as opposed to double Arsenal defence for that nice double feels like a better option for me as a differential. And then the last one I've got here is Asensio. And a double-digit haul for him last week, but he only played 25 minutes. And actually, he's only played 22 minutes in the 2 games before that as well. So the problem is with Asensio, when he's coming on for Villa and when he's playing in the Cups, he's looking dynamic, he's getting goals, he's getting assists. The problem is in the league, he's not getting the full 90 minutes at the moment. So the better option there, and also not very much talked about, is Rodgers. even cheaper at only 5.5 million. Another double-digit haul for him. 7 goals, 7 assists so far this season. Underlying stats looking good, and he's nailed for the 90 minutes. So Rodgers is a nice option there for that double in game week 33. So there's just a couple of different options that I'm looking at the moment. I've got Mikalenkovic in here. I could also potentially look at having a Liverpool defender like Virgil, if I'm not using the money on someone like a Saliba, just because they've got good run of fixtures. There's no doubles there, but that defence has been really solid all season. So having either a Nottingham Forest or a Villa defender, or a Liverpool defender over the next couple of weeks, it feels like a safe option for that as well. So let me know what you think on these differentials. You know, they're all in a good run of form at the moment. They're all very lowly owned, sort of less than 5%. So I feel like there's a chance here to maybe gain some rank if they go against the grain on that as well. So let me know what you think for your team if you're wildcarding this week. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the captain choices for game week 31. If you've got this far into the video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new around here and like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bells for any updates of any fixture changes that are coming up later on in the season, and of course any videos as they come out on a weekly basis. But now let's have a quick look on who to captain for game week 31. So for me this week, there's two standout options. The first one is obviously Mo Salah, just because he's scored 50% more than the second highest player, like over 100 points more than the second player in the game. So betting against Salah just feels a bit off at the moment. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, he is out of form at the moment. He's not scored, I think, in his last 3 games, cups games, and didn't score at the weekend. Alexander Isak obviously got a goal last in the midweek, and obviously they got Leicester away. It just feels like he's obviously back scoring goals again. That fixture is so nice. Leicester are conceding goals left, right and centre at the moment. I think there's a real opportunity there for him to rival Salah this week as the captain choice. And then the other player who's really on form at the moment, and especially with Haaland now being out, is Marmoush. A 12-pointer and a 9-pointer in the last 2 weeks. Man United away, who are just look so disorganised at the moment. I think there's obviously certainly opportunities there for that Man City team to score goals. And whether they concede or not is irrelevant in this instance. But I do think Marmoush could be a nice outside pick. Again, if you're chasing rank, I wouldn't be upset if someone was picking Marmoush as their captain this week as well. For me, Isak is currently set as my captain and Mo Salah as my vice captain. But again, for those that are looking to chase rank, I don't see Marmoush as a bad choice for this week. Okay guys, let's be honest. Game week 30 was absolutely appalling for me. 29 points. It's just so poor. I look at all of my team. There was Gabriel and Aina both came off early. Watkins didn't start and only came on for a bit of a cameo towards the end. Kluivert went off and didn't even play. He was didn't play at all. So Raul came off my bench for 2 points. But just everywhere there was blanks, apart from Palmer and Umbremo. So Palmer finally got some points on the board with 6 in the midweek, and then obviously Umbremo with the 8 points. Salah was my captain with only 3 points, so even he blanked. It just was one to forget. 350,000 red arrow. My rank has dropped from inside the top million to 1.7 million in 3 weeks. I'm hoping now that with the wild card and with the chip strategy that I've got in place, that I can start to climb back up again. And realistically now, my goal is just to finish in the top 1 million for this year. So really, really disappointing over the last couple of weeks. I felt like we'd done so much good work in climbing up from 5 million up to 900k. But then just to lose, 800k in the last 3 weeks has been devastating for the team. But with the wildcard now active, let's have a quick look at what my team looks like for game week 31. So looking forward at my team currently as it stands, and as I said, Wildcard is active, so this will change 100 times before the deadline tomorrow. Currently in goal, I've got Raya with Everton away. Then I've got Saliba, Van Dijk, and Livramento. In defence, I've got Sarr, Saka, Salah, and Murphy. And then up front, I've got Isak, Marmoush, and Mateta. And then on the bench, I've got Henderson, I've got Rodgers, Gvardiol, and Dean. Now, as I said, I am potentially looking at bringing in Marino. I think he's a great option there. Could potentially drop Murphy or Sarr. Would potentially bring in Munoz in defence. So could either take out Van Dijk, for example, and put Munoz in instead of having Sarr. So at the moment, I've got triple Palace and triple Newcastle ready for their doubles. I've got triple Arsenal ready for their double. I've got double Man City and currently 2 Villa. But would obviously look at bringing in the 3rd Villa by moving Isak to Watkins in game week 33. So right now, I feel like I'm in a really good position in terms of having great coverage for all of the doubles, and then obviously ready to free hit in game week 34 as well. So overall, really happy that the wildcard is now active and that the team looks good moving forward. Just now got to finalise a few places. So people like Saka, Salah, the front 3 are all confirmed. I think I'm going to stick with Raya, and then it's just a case of who is my 3rd from Arsenal and 3rd from Crystal Palace as this stage, and then do I want to go a little bit different with the Newcastle assets like Trippier or Guimaraes as options. So that's where I'm standing at the moment. Let me know in the comments below, do you like this team? Is there anyone that you wouldn't go with? Anyone you feel like I'm absolutely missing out on that you feel should be an absolute banker for this team? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, everyone, thank you for watching FPL Fanzone. If you've got this far into the video, do hit that like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're new around here, and hit that notification bell if you want updates on videos as and when they get dropped each week. Now, it is a short game week, so the games do start again tomorrow, despite the Chelsea game only finishing this morning. So I obviously want to wish everyone a good luck, and may all of your arrows be green.